This audio sucks. Would you want to sit here and listen to audio that sounded this bad?
Probably not. And you're not alone. In fact, a recent study by Google and YouTube found that 84% of viewers say they'd rather watch a video with clear audio and mediocre visuals than a beautifully shot video with bad sound. So if you're making videos, choosing the right microphone is one of the most important things you can do. But here's the thing. There's no single best microphone. The right one depends entirely on how you plan to use it. A mic that's perfect for one situation might be completely wrong for another. Before we dive in, I just want to mention this won't be a deep technical breakdown of microphones. Instead, this is a practical guide for video creators who just want better audio without getting lost in the details. I'll be comparing 4 broad categories of microphones based on how they're actually used, so you can understand their strengths and weaknesses and decide what works best for you. Also, this is not a sponsored video. I bought all this gear with my own money, and I'm not here to sell you anything. I'll mention specific microphones, but these are just examples to represent each category, not recommendations for those exact models. I've been doing corporate videos for close to 20 years, and the gear I use is simply what I could afford at the time, and importantly, gear that I felt would deliver the best value for the money I had to spend on them. And honestly, with microphones, I think that diminishing returns comes into play quickly. Once you get past a few $100s, I think you start paying more and more for only small incremental improvements in sound quality. Unless you're working as an audio professional, I believe you don't need to chase the most expensive mic to get great sound. So, if you're a creator looking to improve your audio without breaking the bank, this video is for you. Let's jump in and compare 4 types of microphones for video creators. There's no single best microphone. What matters is choosing the right one for how you plan to use it. So let's break down 4 common types of microphones, how they work, and their pros and cons. Condenser mics are known for detailed, high-fidelity sound, making them perfect for studio recordings, voiceovers, and filmmaking. This category includes small diaphragm condenser mics, sometimes called pencil mics, and shotgun microphones, which are widely used in video and film production. One of their advantages is their high sensitivity. This gives these mics a bit of working distance, meaning that they can be placed just outside the camera frame, so you don't see the microphone in your shot. I usually have this microphone just outside the frame so you can't see it. Most condenser mics require 48 volts of electricity. This is called phantom power from an audio interface, a mixer, or a powered adapter. Usually, only higher-end mirrorless cameras can supply this power to a condenser microphone via an accessory interface. If your camera doesn't have this option, you'll end up needing a separate audio recorder and need to synchronize your video and audio during editing. Many pros say this is actually the right way to do it, but personally, I like the ease of having audio going directly into the camera, so I use an accessory interface that can supply the required power to the microphone. Some condenser microphones can run on plug-in power from the camera's microphone input. However, these microphones are usually inexpensive options that may only be marginally better than the camera's built-in microphone. They usually have a weaker signal and more noise than higher quality options. Pro and prosumer condenser microphones are highly sensitive, so they pick up everything. That includes background noise, echo, and distant sounds, making them best suited for controlled environments. They can be challenging in noisy environments because you may very well pick up noise from the next room or traffic noise from outside. But condenser mics tend to give the most natural sound, where they pick up some of the environment, including room acoustics and ambient noise. I personally use small diaphragm condenser microphones in my kitchen studio because they're great for catching the spoken instructions as well as delicate sounds like, say, a knife cutting or pouring of ingredients. In the category of condenser microphones, there are also large diaphragm condenser microphones, which are commonly used for music vocals or voiceover recordings in studio environments. These give highly detailed sound recordings, but I don't think they work so well in many home or office studios where background noise could become a real problem for these microphones. In short, condenser mics are best for studio recordings, filmmaking, music, and voiceovers in recording booths. The downside is that they are too sensitive for noisy environments. Dynamic microphones are the podcaster and broadcaster microphones. They're rugged, simple to use, and don't require external power. They are less sensitive than condenser microphones, so you need to be up close and speak into them directly. A benefit of that proximity is that your voice becomes much louder than the background noise, making them ideal for focusing on the voice of the presenter in situations like podcasting, live streaming, and broadcasting. Dynamic microphones typically come in XLR or USB versions. XLR versions are meant to plug into a mixing board or a camera with a suitable audio interface, but USB models are just plug and play to your computer. Unlike condenser microphones, they don't need phantom power and are usually more rugged, making them good for location and stage work where they can take a little bit of abuse and get knocked around a bit. A limitation of dynamic microphones is that they must be kept very close to your mouth for good sound. Move too far away, like even just a few inches away, and your voice drops off quickly. If you're doing YouTube or corporate videos, this pretty much guarantees that the microphone will be in your shot, which is okay if you're going for that look. Hopefully you can position it so it doesn't block the face of your speaker. So in short, dynamic microphones are best for podcasts, live streaming, and noisy environments where you want to focus on the voice of the speaker. Their downside is that the mic must be in your shot and close to your mouth. Lavalier microphones, sometimes called lapel or lav mics, are small clip-on microphones that allow for hands-free recording. They are often used for interviews, presentations, and on-camera speaking. A wired lavalier mic often plugs directly into a camera, a recorder, or a smartphone for a very simple setup. A wireless lav provides freedom to move around, making them great for stage performances because the microphone is always on the speaker and you can hear them clearly even if they face away from the camera. Even though they're actually just really small condenser microphones, they usually don't pick up the environment as much because of their proximity to the speaker's mouth all the time. This can be desirable or undesirable. I remember Adam Savage from Mythbusters fame saying that he didn't want to use a clip-on microphone for his own YouTube videos because his voice remained constantly and unnaturally loud all the time, even as he moved around his workshop and looked away from the camera. I think it's a personal choice, but a lavalier microphone will definitely sound more like a presentation or a news anchor's microphone. Many news anchors do use lavalier microphones, and having a clipped-on lavalier microphone will often be visible in your shot, meaning that your video can be perceived as a more formal on-camera presentation rather than as something unscripted and authentic. If you don't want to see the microphone in your shot, because they're so small, you can hide lavalier microphones, for example, under the collar or just tape it directly to your speaker. But it does make setup a bit trickier, and you can sometimes interfere with the sound quality as well. Hidden or not, lavalier microphones may also pick up clothing rustle or accidental bumps if you have someone who places their hand on their chest a lot. It does happen quite a bit. It could be argued that the sound quality from a lavalier microphone is never as good as something from a larger condenser microphone, but I think most of the people who really pick up on that are real audio professionals rather than a more general audience watching your videos on, say, YouTube on their smartphone. In short, lavalier microphones are best for interviews, presentations, and talking head videos. The downside is that they are usually visible in your shot and may pick up clothing noise and accidental bumps. Wireless clip-on microphone systems have become incredibly popular in the past few years. They're basically condenser microphones, usually similar in use to lavalier microphones, but I'm treating them as their own category because they come as an all-in-one wireless system, making them incredibly popular with content creators, both hobbyists and professionals. These microphones can be clipped onto clothing like a lavalier microphone, or you can just handhold it for location outdoor interviews. For outdoor shooting, many new models offer built-in noise reduction that helps to avoid wind noise or helps viewers to hear you clearly when recording in noisy environments. Wireless means no cables, but it also means potential signal interference in areas with lots of radio and Wi-Fi transmissions. To combat that, many units also offer internal recording as a backup in case you have a bad connection or interference. To get decent sound, they usually need to be clipped onto clothing, making them visible in the frame. But they're so ubiquitous with content creators these days that I think very few people think anything of it when they see someone wearing one of these microphones. And somehow, they feel less official than having a lavalier microphone clipped on. But that's just me. I would be really curious to know how you feel about traditional lavaliers versus these new wireless clip-on ones being in the frame. As a viewer, does it make you perceive one of them as more formal versus more casual? Let me know in the comments. In short, these new wireless clip-on microphones are best for vlogging, mobile content, and interviews. Possible downsides include battery life and wireless interference, since many operate on the same frequencies as Wi-Fi networks. Hearing the differences between these microphones in real-world settings is the best way to understand how they perform. So let's put them all to the test. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. That's the way things are, you see. Only the ones who believe can really soar. Now that we've looked at each category of microphone in terms of setup, usability, and real-world performance, let's break it down even further. If you're still wondering which microphone is right for you, here's a simple way to decide based on how and where you'll be recording. For studio quality recordings or controlled environments, a condenser microphone, either small diaphragm pencil mic or shotgun mic, is your best bet. These mics are designed to capture detailed, high-fidelity sound, making them perfect for voiceovers, professional interviews, music, environmental videos, and filmmaking. They work best in quiet, controlled spaces where you can minimize background noise. Just keep in mind that condenser mics tend to pick up everything, so proper mic placement and noise control are key. If you're live streaming, podcasting, or recording in a noisy environment, a dynamic microphone is a solid choice. These mics are great at isolating your voice and blocking out unwanted background noise, making them ideal for broadcasts, game streaming, and content creation in less than perfect sound environments. Just remember, dynamic mics require you to stay close to the microphone for the best sound quality, so they will be in your shot, and they're best when you're stationary and speaking directly into them. For interviews, presentations, or situations where you need to move freely, a lavalier mic is a practical solution. It clips onto your clothing and allows for hands-free recording, making it perfect for on-stage presentations and talking head videos. The trade-off is that lav mics can sometimes pick up clothing rustle if not positioned carefully. But if you need an easy, low-profile solution, they get the job done. And finally, for vloggers, mobile creators, or anyone who needs a wireless setup, a clip-on wireless microphone system is a great option. These are incredibly convenient and versatile, allowing you to move freely while still capturing clear audio. They work well for interviews, travel vlogs, and dynamic filming setups when you don't mind having the microphone in your shot. Since they're wireless, they can eliminate the hassle of cables, but battery life and potential signal interference can be factors to consider. Each microphone has its own strengths, so the best choice really depends on how you plan to use it. But if you're just starting out and want a flexible, all-purpose option, an all-in-one wireless kit offers the best balance of convenience, portability, and versatility, especially for content creators on the go. But there's a caveat. One thing to keep in mind when buying microphones is that good microphones last for years or even decades. So investing in the best microphone you can afford is usually a smart move, except for these wireless all-in-one kits. The thing about these wireless kits is that new models come out all the time, many with brand new features that you really want to have. And many of them have non-replaceable batteries. So once the battery dies, the whole system becomes useless. Unlike other microphones, these kits have built-in obsolescence. That's something to consider if you're planning on using one for the long haul. As we've seen today, great audio can make or break a video. Even if your visuals aren't perfect, clear sound keeps people engaged. No matter what type of content you create, investing in the right microphone will always improve your production quality. But great audio isn't the only thing that makes your videos more professional. Good color matters too, and one of the simplest ways to get better looking video is by setting your white balance correctly. I actually made a video about how to get great color by setting your white balance right, and if you haven't seen it yet, you can check it out here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.